What is going on, YouTube? It is time to shake and bake. Working on a special custom today. This was sent in by a subscriber, Dirty Deeb. Let's see what he wants us to make for him. Check this out. Oh man. Team Monte Carlo, New York Mets. Not really a Mets fan, so I don't think I'll have much of a problem removing the paint on this. And Dirty Deeb sent this in, and that's right. Shake and bake, baby. Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. So that's going to be the goal with this. We're going to make this into a Ricky Bobby Wonder Bread number 26 NASCAR for the YouTube Cup. So let's crack this bad boy open. See what we're working with. This car is pretty legit. It's pretty heavy to begin with. I don't think it's a metal base, but look at that sweet car to begin with. Love those Monte Carlos, that's for sure. So focus on this will be to make it for the track, and we're gonna add some weight, probably work on these wheels a little bit, try and make it roll as fast as we can, and give it a sweet paint job to go along with this Talladega Nights theme. So I got the posts all drilled out. It actually came out really nice. A pretty small post in the front, so I didn't want to go too deep, but we got it out. Check out that. Got a full little roll cage going on and everything. That's pretty legit. I like it. So there we go. The whole thing's taken apart. Dirty Deeb does not want to have a wheel swap, so hopefully these roll pretty well, and I can work on them and make them roll better. I don't think we're going to have too much trouble here. Shouldn't be too hard to add some weight to this. Got a pretty good frame there to add the weight to. And yeah, looks like a lot of room in there. This post got a little bit of meat to it, so it shouldn't be too hard to drill it out. And this one's really long, so very cool. Now that it's all taken apart, it is time to take this body and get all that paint off it. So before I release the citrus strip on this, I'm going to do a little light sanding. I got some 320 grit sandpaper, which is pretty aggressive, but I want to make sure I get through that clear coat and that it doesn't take a long time for that citrus strip to do its job. And I found that doing a little scuff and sanding it a little bit before putting the citrus strip on there makes a huge difference. There we go. That's probably good enough for now. And let's get to stripping this paint. I'm just using a small brush to apply the citrus strip all over the body of the car. Now this car actually has a really good paint job on it, so I'm gonna apply a little heavier coat of the citrus strip than I normally would, just to make sure it gets all that paint off there. It gets to looking like this, all nasty and crusty. It is time to strip the paint. And it looks like the citrus strip did a really good job. It's all coming off pretty easy, which is the goal. This paint was actually pretty thick, so I let it sit for about 45 minutes with the citrus strip on there before it got to the point where I thought it was ready to take the paint off. There we go. Looks like the citrus strip did a really good job, other than a couple little spots on there. But that's no big deal. It looks like all the seams. It's kind of the good thing. This is the first modern NASCAR I've done. And you don't have a whole lot of little seams and stuff that you gotta get paint out of. So that's kind of nice. Looks like just a big chunk of metal, which I'm good with. It should take the decals real well. Hopefully it'll take the paint real well. And there we go. That's about as good as it's going to get. We'll go wash it with some warm soapy water and go over it with some steel wool, and we'll be back in a sec. And all the paint has been removed, and this casting is actually in really good shape. Not a whole lot of casting errors or seams or anything like that, so it is ready for paint. Before applying the paint, I went over it with Krylon Cover Max White Primer. This primer works really well for me, and I haven't really had any issues with it. After letting the primer dry, I went over it with Krylon Color Masters Satin Bright White. And per the decals that I'm going to be using, they wanted me to use Testors Gloss Bright Blue, and it's number 1210. I went over that, and this stuff went on really nice. It's a thick paint, so you got to be careful when you use it, but it actually turned out really well. So this won't be an exact replica of the Wonder Bread Ricky Bobby car. There were just some details of the car that I wasn't able to incorporate into this car, but I think I got it fairly close. It'll be a good representation at the least. Once I got it all painted up, it was time to apply the decals. And unfortunately, that's where all the problems started. The first decal I attempted to apply pretty much fell apart when I got it wet and tried to apply it to the car. I didn't spray it with lacquer or anything before I tried to apply it. So this decal was not a very important one, and I thought I could make do without it. But before I went to apply any others, I sprayed the decals with some Testors Gloss paint. The Testors Gloss went on really well, but once it dried, as you can see here, all the yellow bled throughout the decal and pretty much ruined any other decal I was going to attempt to use on this car. I figured the issues with the decal were kind of my fault, so I ordered some new decals, and this is what they sent. I don't know what the issue with this set of decals was, but there were little lines or markers around every decal that I wanted to use, and quite honestly, I don't know why anybody trying to sell this stuff would send something out that looked like this, because these decals were pretty much useless. I contacted the company and sent them a picture of what the decals looked like and asked for some new ones, and luckily they sent me some out that I could use. When I received the new decals, I made sure to spray them, and I used Krylon Color Masters Acrylic Crystal Clear, and the stuff worked out really well. One problem I had though was the decals were pretty thick, as you can see here, and it took a lot of clear to blend them into the body once they were on. These decals fought me every inch of the way when I was trying to make this car, and I normally try and film while I'm applying the decals, but I was so frustrated that I just chose not to film and went without it. Alright, finally got all the decals on, and it's looking alright. So I think it's time to put this thing back together. Not sure if Dirty Deep wants me to add some weight to this or not. If so, it wouldn't be hard to take it all apart and add some weight. That's kind of the easy part. Adding weight's easy. Adding weight in the right places is the hard part. So as usual, I'm using my 2x56 button head screws that you can find on Amazon. I think you can get a pack of 100 for about $8, something like that, which isn't too bad. You do 50 cars, so that's quite a bit. Not a bad deal, if I do say so myself. It is time for the moment of truth. This car was quite the task. Oh, it tested my patience, that's for sure. But let's see what it looks like. There we go. I think Ricky Bobby would be proud. Shake and bake. Looking pretty good. The decals actually turned out pretty well. Not quite as nice as I would want them, but still pretty cool. Looks all right. And yes, I know this was supposed to be red. I don't have any red paint right now, so I'm not going to put something on there that's not going to look good. But I'll leave it blue for now, and if I come across some red paint that matches, then I will get that painted before I send it back over to Dirty Deeb. But pretty cool, actually. It looks pretty sweet. Overall, I think the car turned out okay. I wish the decals would have been better. And to be honest, they actually turned out pretty good once they got on the car. But I'm not going to advertise where I got them from. I'm kind of frustrated with the company a little bit. But if you guys want to track them down and figure it out, then you guys can decide if you want to use them or not. Maybe you guys will have better luck than I did. I got a hold of Dirty Deeb, and he asked that I add some weight to this car. So I had some extra tungsten lying around from TxChemist. If you've never heard of him, go Google him, and that's TxChemist. He makes tungsten that will help you add weight to Hot Wheels or Pinewood Derby cars. And he's got a lot of very cool products. It's pretty impressive. You should go check him out. And I also used some lead fishing weights, and I got this thing up to 95 grams, which is pretty decent. So I'm not sure what Dirty Deeb's going to do with this car. I know he wants to race it. Hopefully he sends it over to Sub 4RA and enters it into the YouTube Cup or maybe some other channel. But anyway, Dirty Deeb, I hope you like it. And thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we will see you on the next one.